been doing a lot of thinking, a lot of philosophical thinking about people versus environment. How much of what happens to us is solely based on the environment and what's happening to us, and how much of it is our own decisions? Our ability to make good and bad decisions. At what point do you look at what's going on around you and say, I will not give in to the demons of my lesser nature? I've been doing a lot of thinking about the 7 deadly sins and what they are and what they do. So the 7 deadly sins are the things that indulge us. They're the things that we indulge over everything else. They feel really good, our body wants more of it, and it's a corrupting factor that will harm us if we allow it to drive our actions. But you also need a little bit of those 7 sins in order to prevent you from losing your mind, and honestly to just reproduce the species. A sin as basic as lust is something that needs to exist in order for me to feel attraction for my wife to create the child that we have made together. We didn't set about creating a child purely out of logical decision making. It was something we wanted to do. And it just so happens that I have enough lust towards my wife that we could do that. But it also is something that is cultivated. It's a series of higher emotions beyond the base instinct of rutting. And those who allow lust to take them over, they become rutting boars, animals who will do anything to continue to rut. The separation of emotion from sex is so dangerous because sex needs to be sacred. It's literally the power that creates life. It should not be trivialized. It's the reason so many people are so lonely and depressed, because human relationships have fallen away to the ideal that we're simply going to fill our lust and ignore that which is based around a loving relationship. Most men only want one thing, and it's beautiful. They want a loving partner, somebody they can share their life with, somebody they can build a life with who will accept them. Because for heterosexual men, for a large majority of us, it is the acceptance of a woman that allows us to feel worthy in life. If women reject me, if women reject you, as a man, I would feel lesser. I used to feel lesser all the time before I married my wife. I had a very long period of time in my life where women treated me like I was some repulsive thing that had slithered out of the gutter. And it was very destructive to my sense of self. It made me feel lesser. And eventually, what I decided to do was act like a bowerbird, to create an environment that would attract a mate. And in order to do that, I had to look upon myself, and I had to have enough pride to feel that I was worthy of this. But not too much pride to think that I was such a catch that I could just throw myself out there and women would just flock to me. That's not what happens. I needed to be worthy. I needed to attract a mate. So what did I do? Well, I was in the army when I made this decision. So the first thing I decided to do was cultivate myself physically in a way that I would be attractive. So I cut my hair a certain way. I learned to walk a certain way. I learned to talk a certain way. I was very good at grooming myself. I made sure that physically I was attractive. Hit that gym, folks. It's important. Then I made certain that my place was clean. I got a place that, I got an apartment that was in a nicer area, that was a little bit more expensive, and it was very clean and very orderly. I then made sure that my apartment was very clean and orderly. I then bought a handful of expensive pieces of furniture, like a bed and a couch, and things that would be comfortable, would make the place comfortable. And I wanted to make certain that any woman that walked into my apartment would go, oh, this is a nice place you have here. And not be like, ugh. Because you know those places. You walk in and the guy is some kind of slovenly neckbeard and his apartment's just gross and it smells and there's clothes all over the floor. And you look at it and you're like, this is the pit of sloth and gluttony. There is no value in this place. The human that lives here is a degenerate that does not deserve anything. That is what I see when I look at some of my friends' bedrooms. I just look around and I'm like, what manner of creature lives here? And so I decided that if I was going to get myself to attract a worthy mate, I was going to need to clean the hell up, to make a place where she could look around and go, this isn't so bad. I also learned how to cook. I learned how to clean, how to do my own laundry, how to hold a job, how to provide. Because, folks, gentlemen, the number one thing you can do to attract a good mate is to be a good mate. Don't listen to the identity politics, folks. They don't know what they're talking about. Look at the traditions that have allowed humanity to survive and how you can fit into that. You don't need to be some barbarian clubbing somebody over the head and dragging them back to your cave. You need to be a provider. Now, in this day and age, the idea that you're going to do it all on your own is not realistic. But neither was it back in the day. The reason why the man was a provider was because his wife was also going to be a provider, just a different type of provider. There's this funny thing that I listen to when they're talking about, the men were off hunting and the women were raising the children. Yeah, you want to know what else the women were doing? Everything. Like, seriously. Yes, the women were back at the village. You want to know what they were doing? Yes, they were taking care of the children. They were also preparing the food and the clothes and doing the farming and the masonry and making sure that the house wasn't falling apart. And they were making sure that the furniture was put together. And they were taking care of people who were sick. And they were making decisions. And. When the boys got back from the wilderness with their kill, they would throw that kill down and lay down exhausted. Kind of like any dude after he has sex. And after he was exhausted, he would just lay down, he would clean himself up and just lay down and sleep and recover from this crazy hunt he had been on. It is now up to the women, once again, to take the kill and process the kill and make it into something edible. Because, gentlemen, why do you want a woman in your life? It's not just because you're a horny beast that wants to go rut. It is because you need the sacred feminine in your life. And if you are going to get the sacred feminine in your life, you must be worthy of her. I don't want to hear you whining. I don't want to hear you crying. I want to hear you getting better. Focus on a path that will lead you to be better, because you're capable of it. You're smarter than you think, especially if you live in America. Oh my God. This is the land of opportunity, folks. And the reason why so many immigrants want to come here is because this still is the land of opportunity. And with the internet, your power becomes more than it's ever been before. And that doesn't mean it's easy. As a matter of fact, the path to success is not easy. Anybody who tells you the path to success is easy is lying. They are a charlatan in disguise trying to trick you out of your money. There is no magic bullet. There is no quick and easy pill to success. There is work, dedication, even the really cool jobs. I mean, look at the story of Mr. Beast from the internet. What did he do to get to where he was? He obsessed about how to hack that algorithm, how to get more views, What kind of videos attracted attention? How do you talk? How do you make a pic, on the little picture in order to make people click on your thing? If you watch the Joe Rogan Experience when he goes on there and talks to Joe, he lays it all out. His journey was a heck of a journey, and he sacrificed quite a bit to get there. He worked for years and gave up a lot of other things so he could do that. It's important to remember that hard work is what's going to get you anything you want out of life. There is no easy. There is only what you have earned.